I don't care anymore.
You getting that, Danny? Oh, yeah, we're getting that. That'll sell tickets like nobody else. Ryan Middleton's vocal cords.
Have you ever thought about like singing into these mics? Like these mics are so awesome. You can hear yourself so good. Have you ever thought about like seeing how good it makes you not sound singing?
No, I don't want to hear that. I don't need that from myself. I don't need that self-esteem crusher.
What have you noticed? Oh, there's another one coming down. What have you noticed?
I hope it goes down
that I do when I'm on the mic that like you can't avoid me doing it. Like once I put this headphones on, what do?
I don't think you did it today.
Check out my melody.
There it is. Hey, I have a video on my phone when we were setting up the podcast of Ryan rapping into one of these mics during a mic test. So if you guys want to see that, I don't know. We need to make some kind of contest, and I'll release the footage.
No, there's no contest that works.
No, like buy front row tickets.
There's none left.
Buy second row, third row. Yes. Buy tickets to BitB14, and I will personally DM you the video.
There are tickets left for this event. Like, it's weird. Like the casino shows, they sell real late, right? So that's
the walk-ups last time were insane.
Day of ticket sales were insane. Day before were insane.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. If you wait till then, last time we didn't have Khama Worthy on. We didn't have like a couple of the big names. Like this time, you could be out of luck.
Yeah, and actually a lot of the amateurs this time selling more as well, a lot more.
So the total consigned by fighters was more than doubled this time than it was last time. So on this particular card, it's reverse of last time. Like the online sales are lower, the ticket consigned sales are a lot higher, and that'll even out. So that leads us to believe if you sit around, we were very close to sold out last show. If you sit around and wait for tickets and wait till the last day, you could be out of luck.
SOL, as they say. Hey, check it out. Ryan's chugging a bang. I got a little chugging a bang. Kiwi Guava Celsius. Are you a Celsius or a bang person? I want to know. I want to know which energy drink reigns supreme, Celsius or bang.
Let me see that. I've never really seen Celsius. It looks like a very
girly drink because it's a slim can. You can say it. That's fine.
I mean, it's not just the slim can. It's like pretty much looks like it caters to like little girls.
It's delicious. You don't get locks like these not drinking Celsius. I'll tell you that.
Let's try this one here.
There we go.
That one will probably show.
And both of these companies have sponsored MMA fighters and have been in the MMA space, so I think it's valid.
I mean, we need a local energy drink.
I know. Who is it? Is there a local energy drink?
I mean, 247 Energy.
247 Speed.
247 Don't snort this
or do. Honestly.
Okay. Listen, we're here.
We are. It's fight week. Big
couple
time
days.
Fights.
Oh, it's Tuesday. We got like 5 days.
Yeah, but it feels like it's like tomorrow.
It does feel like it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's tomorrow. Most of the time, that creeps up on you. I think like it's not creeping up on us. It feels like it's tomorrow, but then next thing you know, it'll be Friday, and we'll be sitting here saying like, we were just saying we had like 4 days, and then now we have nothing.
Now it's here. Yep. So we released a clip this morning. Go check our Facebook. Go check our Instagram. Twitter. Did I post it on Twitter? I embedded it on a blog post on the site, 247fighting.com, where we talked all about the Brawl in the Burgh 14 main event between Khama Worthy and Josh Rohler. So we don't need to rehash that fight. That clip's out there. Which other pro fight? There's 2 more killer pro fights. Which one are you more excited for?
Well, I mean, considering there is one we've seen both fighters before and there's one we haven't seen both fighters before, I think I'm more excited for the Hawkins-Kaiser fight. I think that's a rematch that the crazy thing is it wasn't exactly like the rematch, like this is a fight that has to take place again. And yet the side that fell short
wanted it,
clamoring for that rematch. Like, no, that was not the way it was supposed to go. There are reasons I'm not going to get into, but I want that fight back. And it's awesome to see like someone who should, I mean, when you are on our side of things, you see people avoiding certain fights, avoiding certain fighters, avoiding certain styles.
Yep.
It's just the reality of the situation is you don't want to go against someone who is a bad matchup for you. End of story. I'm not saying this is a bad matchup for him, but the first go around did not end in his favor.
Right.
And he's like, listen, I have the keys to this, to solve this puzzle, and like, let's do this.
Yeah, what's especially interesting is Kaiser's style is so wrestling and grappling heavy. I think I called it rappling the other day on accident, and I kind of like it. I'm going to roll with rappling.
He's a rappler.
He's a rappler for sure. So his rappling was so powerful in that fight. And like, it wasn't like Damone just got caught early and was like, I got more to give. It was like 3 solid rounds of domination and a 3rd round submission that ended the fight. It'd be like if John Fitch, at Throwback Thursday, John Fitch, when he fought GSP, and GSP just annihilated him for 5 rounds. If John Fitch was like, I want that one back. Like, why? Like, there was nothing left to prove. You didn't do anything well in that fight. Damone knows something that we don't. That's what this looks like to me, and that's awesome. That makes it highly intriguing.
Well, and the other thing too is like, we don't know inside information. Like, we don't know, but the fighters don't go into fights without injuries, without getting banged up, without like certain things they're favoring that no one knows about but them.
Right.
And that could very well be the case. Like, he could have had an injury that we didn't know about. And he's like, listen, I'm healthy now. Like, I can easily beat this guy. Not easily, but.
Right. I will say what we do know about that fight was that it was signed on like week and a half, 2 weeks notice for both guys. It was a very late add to that card. And if you remember, because it was a title fight, Damone had trouble making weight. And I'd say that played into it for sure. Like, I think he just wasn't quite ready, honestly.
He didn't, I mean, I've seen him. He's always, win or lose, he's always been a super game, tough, durable opponent.
So explosive.
He didn't look quite like himself in that fight.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good one to run back. Kaiser's amateur career was amazing. Obviously, he was our amateur welterweight champ, went 7-1. And again, that one, if you talk to Tom about it, he basically couldn't train for a couple weeks leading up to that fight. Same deal. Wasn't 100%, but it's exactly what you said. Fighters are never 100% going into fights. So this is going to be interesting at pro.
It is going to be interesting. Then the other pro fight, which I think is the only reason I'm not as excited about it, is because I haven't seen either one of these guys live in person. Like, and so I think after they fight for 247, like,
yeah,
it's easier to get fired up,
get hype
for guys.
about them.
Yeah. So, and once you know guys and you kind of like. But those Ortega and Pereira, those two guys are two guys from great camps, great amateur careers. This is a high level pro fight that, I think these two guys are game. What was Ortega's amateur record? He was like a 4-2, and he's
something like that.
And he's
1-2 now.
1-2 as a pro. Yeah,
but he fought Cody Law at featherweight for one of them. Like, he's never going to win that fight. Like, he's a 125er fighting a beast featherweight, not just featherweight, but like a really studly one. Yeah, I just said Cody Law was studly. What's up? Clip that. Tag him.
I mean, you could have not gotten all the. Oh, it's just.
Dude, you gotta get in on that mic whenever you start talking about studliness.
Oh, he's so studly.
So studly, bro. No, but seriously, that was obviously the deck was stacked against Ortega in that fight. So 1-2, but like you said, experienced kickboxing as well. Great amateur record. Great camp. He's better than 1-2. Is what I'm saying.
Ortega, why does he take that fight? Just for the opportunity? Like,
yeah, I think he wants to get back in the win column. When your record's upside down.
I mean the Cody Law fight.
Oh, it was in Bellator.
I get it, but
how guys will just
it's
fight
2
anybody.
weight classes above. Yeah. It's not a guy you really want to. I don't know. I think that it. Looking at an opportunity, going 2 weight classes above against a complete animal, like, it's probably. I don't know. I don't think
Ortega's striking is very good, and total speculation. I would say Bellator opportunity against a big prospect like Cody Law, and you think you have a striking advantage. He probably thought, go in there, catch this guy, and just shock the world.
Sure.
So that's my guess.
Yeah.
And Pereira now, like this fight is at flyweight. This is both of their natural weight classes. Pereira was #1 ranked bantamweight and #1 ranked flyweight on Tapology in both Ohio and Kentucky. We know Ohio's MMA scene is strong. Like being #1 in Ohio is saying something.
There's something about flyweights, though. I'm always nervous about those guys, whether pro or amateur. I'm always nervous about them making weight. And I mean, maybe I don't need to be. I just like when you weigh as much as I do, like
Right.
thinking that someone
Right.
can weigh in at 125 and be a like you know those always make me nervous. Like for weigh-ins and the fight happening and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I will say Pereira trains at Immortal Martial Arts Center in Columbus, and they have this Immortal diet optimization. They literally
that's a brand new program, right?
Yeah. So
congratulations. Way to like really
It's
become the leader. Like Matt
Right.
Brown has a great thing going on, him and Coleman, and
so smart. They're
Yeah.
so smart. So Matt Brown and this guy Eddie Rovnak, who I actually just talked to on the phone last night, they launched his diet optimization, and like talking to him was amazing. When you hear how much of a science they have it down to, and they specifically focus on rehydration after weigh-ins. And he was telling me that like if you're 2% dehydrated or 2% overhydrated, it can have the same negative effect on your performance. So a lot of people think like, oh yeah, after like just rehydrate, but you can actually rehydrate too much to the point that it actually hurts you. So they got it down to a science.
so that people don't say to you, "I am not impressed by your performance."
Exactly. Can't be overhydrated like Matt Hughes. Was he overhydrated? I can't imagine Matt Hughes ever being overhydrated.
Yeah, I can't imagine ever
Maybe Bud Light,
saying
Busch
anything
Light.
negative about Matt Hughes. Just watch yourself, bro.
You Matt Hughes guy.
Dude,
He likes Matt Hughes. People
I don't like Matt Hughes. I'm just saying that dude was bad.
Yeah, he was good. First time.
He was pretty well rounded. I mean, he was wrestling heavy, but he could mix it up. Ask Frank Trigg how going up against Matt Hughes works out.
He was good first time. So anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Pereira Ortega, banger, pro flyweight fight. Kaiser Hawkins,
They're
banger.
both complete studs.
There, you got it. Khama versus Rohler in the main event. Dude, the amateur card, I wrote all about it on our website, 247fighting.com. Wrote about every single amateur fight on the card. Go read that. But give us a highlight, Ryan.
247fighting.com. Listen, we got the stud wrestlers, the stud amateur wrestlers, the next wave of greatness. Now listen, there's a lot of wrestlers that come through and it's a crapshoot. Will they continue down the MMA path? Like some of them don't. Some of them like get a job and like go do greater things in the business world. But I think these two young studs they're ready. And so we talk about now
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah.
Lucas Seibert. Let's
There we
talk
go.
about Lucas. Complete animal. He's really exciting and really lively and really into it. And I think if my information is correct, I think he's like either living or moving or has moved to Pittsburgh, and he's kind of dual training. He's at Stout along with Immortal in Columbus.
Yep.
And has he moved yet? Do you know?
Yeah, he lives in Cranberry.
Okay, so he's a Cranberry guy. So is he training up in the
Cranberry Stout. But on Saturdays they
It's
go to
actually
the strip.
not Cranberry. Zelianople.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on Saturdays they have like MMA sparring at the Strip District location, so they all kind of go there for Saturdays.
So Saturdays.
He getting in that work. Yeah.
Big day at Stout, the Strip District.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think he's super exciting. He's a ferocious competitor, and he's taking a step up in competition.
Big time.
Tell us about that.
I mean, Seibert, you guys know, right after that fight, impressed me probably more than anybody on that card. You just don't see amateurs come in and look that comfortable. He won by TKO. That's great. But it was more watching the fight, like, you know how they always talk about the eye test in football? Like, maybe his stats aren't great, but he passed the eye test. Like, Seibert passed the eye test like few other amateurs ever.
He was calm. He was fluid. He moved well. He didn't rely strictly on one thing. He was, like, well-rounded. He looked comfortable. He looked like he'd been there before.
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. He's already had a write-up on UFC.com. Like, there's a lot of hype around this kid. But, to be fair, he fought Andy Sudu, who is a flyweight.
He was fighting up to take this fight.
He wanted the fight against Seibert, thought it was a good matchup for him, good opportunity for him. But
he was clearly the smaller fighter. Looking at these two in the cage, there was one that was significantly larger than the other.
And now Seibert's opponent Saturday at Brawl in the Burgh 14, Theodore Seibert, trains with Orlando Ortega. Same gym. You know that's legit. So we've got teammate versus teammate tag team match going on. Pereira and Seibert, former teammates now, I guess. Immortal. I think Seibert's still like somewhat affiliated with Immortal. I'm not sure exactly what the dynamic is. It seems like I mean they still love it. They're good terms, of course. But he just lives in Pittsburgh. I think he goes
back there.
Yeah,
I think he still trains because they're cornering him, aren't they?
It's good. I don't know. They're definitely cornering Pereira. I mean, 100%.
Okay, well, who knows? But yeah,
either way, we've got some fun teammate stuff going on there. But Theodore Seibert, Seibert's opponent, is bigger. He's fought at featherweight. He's also more experienced. He has four amateur fights on his resume. Tapology shows 3. The MMA registry we use, the database shows 4. So I'm saying he has 4. That's big. Like, that experience is big, and he's literally physically larger. So it's a huge step up for Seibert. As good as he looked against Andy Sudu at Brawl in the Burgh 12, you don't expect him to just run through Seibert like that. And if he does, then the hype train can... go nuts.
And that happens, and it happens the other way. It's so hard to predict in MMA because Seibert isn't there to like roll over for anyone. He's planning on pounding on him, and I just think that they're both where they need to be in this bout.
And you mentioned it earlier. Like, we see guys all the time turn down fights or they don't want a particular opponent. Seibert was a guy that we had trouble matching. Like, we went through a lot of guys. D1 wrestler, training at a great gym like Immortal, now stout. Of course, like, that's a tough matchup for young amateurs. Seibert wanted it from the very first time we proposed it. Like, he never blinked about it. He's like, I don't care. I'll fight that. I understand who he is. I want to fight him. So
I'm in this game. I'm an amateur fighter for a reason. Like, I want to take on tough competition. Guys, I feel like I stress this, but at the same time, like, if you're an amateur fighter and you are being super picky with like wanting certain like, get in there, get experience, learn what you need to challenge yourself, and learn in a loss what you need to work on more in training. And I mean, I'm not looking for guys. We're never looking for guys that are like way outmatched in a bout. But at the same time, like, if you're about an even like, win percentage, like, those are the bouts you should want as
learning
an
experiences.
Yeah,
and that's a perfect segue because you talk about that kind of matchup, and we have exactly that on the card with Tony Welsh versus James Joint. That's 2 studs clashing who know, like, I don't want to take a loss this early in my amateur career. They're both 1-0, but they both know that even whoever loses is still going to grow tremendously from this fight because it's a great stylistic, tough matchup.
Got to watch out for those Indio wrestlers. I'll tell you what, Danilo has these kids that come to Indio Dojo, and they have great wrestling pedigree, and he turns them into grappling animals.
Rappling.
And that's really the case with Tony Welsh. Tony Welsh is also getting additional work and works with Chris Williams, and he is becoming, like, he's looking to become very well rounded. He's taking this very seriously. And James Joint with Prodigy MMA, like, those guys, this is a fight that he wanted last time. Right?
It was supposed to happen at Brawl in the Burgh 12 and didn't for reasons. #reasons. Nothing on Welsh's or Joint's part. We'll say that. Like, it was circumstances outside of anybody's control. But Joint, this is what I love about this fight. Scheduled to take it before. Now, they're both debuts at the time. No footage on either guy. Maybe he could read about Tony Welsh's wrestling. But when you see Tony Welsh's wrestling and what he did at Brawl in the Burgh 12, that could make somebody be like, maybe I don't want to fight him. But James Joint said, now I extra want to fight him.
Yeah, it's very intriguing to me now. Like
right.
I think I can solve that. Like that's the Rubik's Cube that I want to play with. So I think that's the matchups we want here.
That's
we
sick.
want guys that want to go into tough fights and walk out a better man.
Yeah.
Regardless.
That's it. And whoever, like we said, whoever loses that fight is going to be a much better fighter. Whoever wins, obviously, hype train engage because they're going to be on their way.
Those are future, amateur champions if they continue working and continue to go down the path to try to become a pro. And those are certainly guys that you look at if you jump in the future and look at 3 or 4 years, if they take this sport seriously, they could really make a dent in the MMA scene.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about Indio wrestlers, we might as well just keep the train going because we got 2 more on this card too.
Is it cold in here?
It is actually chilly.
It's Burgh.
But it is.
Burgh.
It actually is cold. Is the funny part? I'm like, it's nippy in here.
Yeah. Well, I just said that.
You just wanted to hype Ken Burrs. I see what you did there.
Oh, I see what I did there.
No. Ryan is, if you guys aren't aware, probably the smartest and funniest person of all time.
You're the worst. Your sarcasm is just too much. I'm a dad, man. I got to stay at least I have
have polished
I am
dad
a
jokes.
Dad.
Yeah.
And you give dad jokes and you're not a dad.
It's true.
So you
That's fair.
need to calm your
all right
nips.
It's kind of nippy in here. But Ken Burrs, ladies and gentlemen, Waynesburg University wrestler, standout, D3 wrestling standout, impossible to match. We couldn't match him. Danilo would check in so many times. Did you find somebody for Burrs?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to give Danilo bad news, right? Like, he's so awesome that you always feel bad every time he asks. It's like, oh man, I gotta tell Danilo the bad news. It's like, no, we didn't forget about him. We're trying. Still nobody. But Jason Malnix, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say, dude, Jason shared our post for that announcement yesterday. We noticed these things, Jason. We appreciate you. He shared it, and then his family and friends went nuts sharing it. That thing was blowing up. People are hyped for Jason to make his MMA debut as well. A Japanese jiu-jitsu black belt. So we can talk about Ken Burrs' wrestling all day, but thing is, whenever Burrs takes Jason to the ground, that might not be what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? You get that jiu-jitsu black belt on the mat, maybe not the move, but to be fair, Burrs is a very physically powerful guy, very stocky, very muscular. He just grappled Roman Flannery at Fight to Win and won that match. And we all know how beastly Roman is as well. Super lanky, super different build than Ken Burrs. And Burns' wrestling control was just overpowering. So that's what he's hoping he can bring to MMA in this bout. And we're about to find out. I mean, an MMA debut is always special. But when you've got debut versus debut and they're both awesome like these two, that makes it even better. Let's get that selfie. Get that selfie.
I'm trying
Ryan
to get
Middleton.
a selfie of broadcast selfie.
Broadcast selfie. I think you got it.
Your face is awesome.
Dude, yours too. Don't let yourself off the hook.
You're way better than me.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
I'm just boring.
I am. So we've got Ken Burrs and Jason Malnix. That's a killer middleweight debut versus debut. I'm going to talk about that last Indio wrestler who also happens to be a shop dog. Shout out #shop dogs and them shop boys in Somerset County. Clayton Hoot Lee. I love a guy who wants to be called by his nickname, and he wanted Hoot Lee on his poster. Big fan of that.
Who's Clayton Bigsby?
That's Dave Chappelle's.
Dave Chappelle's character.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Oh, that's classic. Run the tape.
Clayton Hoot Lee.
Hoot Lee.
His nickname is just Hoot Lee.
Hoot Lee. That's an app. That's definitely an app. Go download the Hoot
Is
Lee
there
app.
No, that's like Hoot Sweet. Yeah.
But Hoot Lee sounds like an app.
We need to make an app for Hoot Lee.
It's just the Hoot Lee app. It's just all of his fights.
It's just him.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm Hoot Lee.
I'm Hoot Lee. He fights Dan Walters, which I am hyped about.
Do you know how Hoot Lee got his nickname?
I have no idea.
He frequented Hooters a lot.
Is that
And they just started calling him
real?
Hoot.
Are you just making this
I just
up?
made that up.
Well, I like it. Put
That's
it in the app. It's factual now. We said it.
So for his walkout, he has to wear a Hooters shirt, like a tight Hooters shirt with orange.
Oh man,
No.
nobody wants this. Nobody
Dude,
wants this.
Wasn't there? Sorry, I'm like, I have ADD today. Wasn't there like a male ring guy?
Yeah.
And when he was a fighter too.
Yeah, I think he just passed away. It's super sad.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elias Theodoro.
Dude, how do you pull that stuff up? Like,
I just know these things.
you're crazy.
I've been in this sport for a while, man. You know what I mean?
But I had to bring you back.
you
'cause
did bring
was-
me back.
You
though.
went bye-bye.
dormant. I went dormant. On
You went bye-bye. And then you came back on the scene, and now you're Hoot Lee in it.
Now I'm Hootley in it. I thought you were going to go with Dennis Hallman. Remember when he wore that, super tiny spandex
Dude,
in
that
the
was the
UFC?
grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And Dana White, like literally.
Didn't Hallman have like back hair shaved or something?
That was Brian Ebersol. He had like an arrow shaved into his chest.
Yeah.
I think he fought Hallman. Maybe that's who fought him in
did
that fight.
something before that too, though.
Probably.
Like something.
He's a little nuts.
I'm pretty sure that Dana White was like, "We're never having him fight ever again."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He hated it. He hated everything about it, even though I think it's kind of hilarious. It's funny.
I mean, the
How do you
arrow.
think Serb would like it if Hoot Lee did show up? And
Dude, remember when Serb like assaulted Taylor Cahill? Were you there? Were you
I
around
didn't see
yet?
it. I've heard about it, but I didn't see it.
He like, it was like 45 seconds into a post-fight interview during COVID, and he just like yanks, "Get out of here!"
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But that's a fun segue.
Sorry,
Taylor Cahill
I got
does mentor Hoot Lee, so there you
Yeah.
go. Perfect segue.
Hoot Lee is. I'm excited for him. I hear great things about him.
Yeah.
And you're training with the Shop Dogs, and you're training with Indio. Like, good things are going
High
to come of that.
expectations. Dan Walters, though, is the one who has a fight of experience back at Brawl in the Burgh 12 and completely annihilated his opponent in that fight.
That was Jordan Snow, was that not?
Just absolutely swarmed, aggressive. Dude, Jordan Snow, shout out to that dude's chin. Because if you go rewatch that fight,
He hung in there for
he
a
like
long
doesn't
time.
even get wobbled.
Yeah.
Like he's just eating them, and eventually Chip's like, "Bro, we got to stop this."
I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Jordan Snow was like, "Fine." It didn't even seem like he got his bell rung, but he was just getting teed off on. It was crazy.
So what are we expecting here with him and Hoot?
I think Hoot's going to want to get him to the ground. I think this is wrestling versus striking, but I've heard good things about Walter's ground game as well. Trains at High Ground Jiu-Jitsu in Greensburg. Very good gym there. Very good coaches. So we didn't get to see it in his debut, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a ground game.
Does he have
I'm
a wrestling
interested.
background?
I
Any?
don't think.
So probably not a great sprawl.
Probably not
But
on
he's probably
going
to
to
be on his back. He's going to be dangerous.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then on the feet, who knows? So that's
I'm amazed by like as someone who like brought his kids up through wrestling and just sprawling. Like, I mean, I guess I'm just so used to it, but I'm so amazed at guys that like whose hips are not like positioned well to be out of the way of a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that all the time. And like, even some guys that are like really good grapplers, like don't sprawl. Like,
yeah.
well, you got a grapple heavy opponent that you know he's going to be shooting on you. Like,
Got to be ready.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy to see. Who else we got? Oh, I like this fight. This is a good one. And we forgot it the last time we talked.
Oh yeah, did we?
Q Napier
Kayvon Napier.
and Derek Brown, aka Zeus, aka Odin, aka Destroyer of Worlds.
That's nothing but a fun fight.
Dude,
Like,
it's the
that
best.
is a fun fight.
And here's what I'll get out ahead of the narrative. 0-3 versus 0-1. Oh, well, like these are a bunch of scrubs fighting each other. No. Like, go watch their fights. I've never seen fighters in better spirits after a loss. They both fought at Brawl in the Burgh 12, and Derek Brown fought James Leto, who I think is going to be a problem in MMA. If James Leto sticks to MMA, he's good. He's going to be very good.
I don't know what James Leto.
I think it's Leto.
I don't know what he looks like on the wrestling mat. Like if he looks like he's having the greatest time of his life.
But he did in the cage.
But it literally looks like this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just wrestling to get to MMA. I don't know. But ultimately, he looks like he's having the greatest time he's ever had in his life when he's in the cage.
He really does. I mean, and that's exactly my point here is like Lito, it wasn't a close fight. Like, let's just be honest. Lito's wrestling was entirely overwhelming for Derek Brown.
So were you making fun of Derek Brown?
Yes. To set the record straight, I was completely clowning on Derek Brown. Busted. I almost forgot that happened. That's so stupid.
That happened.
That's so stupid.
So, just anyone that's watching, we were just showing how much fun Lato was having. And now, it was not a close fight. Like, that's not what we were doing. But we posted a post after that fight of Lato smiling during the fight. And we were just like, he's having such, like, do you think he's having fun here or something that?
Yeah.
And we just got like
some fun backlash. We got the minions sicked on us. Sick 'em. It lasted about 10 minutes. The hate.
The vitriol.
Did I
say that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, good.
Applause.
Yeah.
There we go. So the thing about that is like Derek Brown was literally in our DMs like, please keep that video up. I think it's really fun. And Derek Brown's mom was messaging us like, thank you so much for giving my son the opportunity. We love working with you guys. But no, some third party that wasn't at the fight and didn't actually see the whole fight knows
wants
better.
To start drama and
better.
Be a hater. Hey, listen, haters are the biggest fans. They follow you. They don't like, they do it incognito.
Sure.
But they follow you. They know exactly what's going on. They're the biggest fans we have.
It's kind of awesome. So to have Derek Brown back is great for that because like that's easy for him to take a fight like that and be like, well, I'm never going back there. Never fighting for them again. That was terrible. But he was in awesome spirits and immediately wanted to run it back against another fighter who took a tough loss on that card. Very close fight against Trevor Ward. That's a good matchup. Like that, I like matchups where you can take guys off a fight card who both lost and then match them against each other. You see the UFC do it all the time. Too. And it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It puts them at two people that are at the same spot in their like journey and puts them together. Not like 2 wins versus 2 losses in a row. Like
right.
There's certain circumstances where that may make sense, but most of the time you want to get guys that are in like similar spots.
Exactly. And transition into guys with way more experience in a much different place. We didn't talk about the advanced amateur fight on this card.
Oh my goodness. Bruh. AW versus Miguel.
I like, first off, his nickname should be AW. Here's petition Austin Martinez. Austin AW Martinez, because spelling your name AWSTIN is cool.
Savage.
You don't see it. I love it.
Complete savage.
I love it. He is 5-6, I believe. Coming off a tough decision loss to Edwin Vera, and we all know what Edwin is. We all know what Edwin does. No shame at all in losing to Edwin Vera. But like we were just saying, he said, I want to come back, fight for you guys. He's from Michigan.
He brings it. He's a scrappy, tough, bad dude. Yep. And he likes to fight, and he likes to fight fighters who want to fight. And guess what? Miguel wants to fight.
Miguel definitely wants to fight.
And he's going to bring the fight to him. Those 2 dudes are going to stand in the center of the cage and bang it out. It's not going to be like this touch and go. Like, these 2 guys are going to bring fight. Like, It's going to be fun.
It really is. I've seen Miguel fight live once for Made Men. And I remember texting you guys right away, like, dude, we got to get Miguel a fight somehow. Like, he looks so good, dude. That dude is so skilled for an amateur. And that's also what I've heard from training partners is like striking, grappling. He's just super dangerous. He's one of those fighters.
Danny, who did Miguel fight for Made Men? Can you check that out for us, bud?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I just was curious who, if it was a name we're familiar with or not. I mean, he fought, and if it was in Made Men, it was probably less than an hour from here in West Virginia. Or was it?
No, it was in Pittsburgh. It was at the Rivers.
So it was in Pittsburgh. So it may be a name we're somewhat familiar with. We'll have to pull up that Tapology. But
I think he submitted him. if I recall. Dropped him and then submitted him.
Gotcha.
Cullen Flaherty.
Okay.
I know the name ish.
Flaherty. Do we know anything about him? Has he fought since?
Colin.
That's the only fight he's had against Miguel.
Okay, so he
That's
was
a tough out.
wow.
That's a tough out
Miguel
for
was
Colin.
1-2 against a debut.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with Miguel, I think, is like his 2-2 record doesn't reflect his skills. And this is, just what people have told me. And again, like what I saw in that fight. Obviously, it diminishes it a little that it was against a debut, but he still just looked crispy.
His fights have been so spread out. Like, he's a training warrior. Like, the guys in the gym, whichever gym, I know he serves in the military too. And, like, I think so, right? He had a military obligation. And so he's a very busy kid and has I know he was trained boxing a lot. And I think he started out in 10th Planet.
Yeah.
And so he's has a lot of training. He's just very high skilled, and so fighting a guy with 11 fights is a step up.
That's a huge moment for him. Yeah.
His last fight was against a debut.
Yep.
Now he's fighting a guy who's fought like 10 billion times.
Yeah. And has been posting training updates like crazy. I don't know if you've seen Austin Martinez's Facebook, but that dude's putting in work. He looks really good physically. He's super fired up mentally. He's very excited about this fight. He's been messaging me just personally, like hyped about the fight. I love that, by the way. Like,
if
that's
you're
awesome.
a fighter and you're showing us how excited you are, like we get excited. We get fired up for your fight. Like, and so don't ever hesitate to annoy us with like your excitement and shooting us messages and listen, fighters, like tag us in your stuff. Tag us in your posts. Like, we love seeing fighters posting and promoting their own fights. Listen, guys, this is regional MMA. This isn't UFC. There aren't like a million people that just want to go see the fights just because. Like, we're relying on the local guys to bring fans, sell tickets, get people excited, get people fired up. So the more you're doing that, the more we're loving it. Like, help us make this sport big, and there's no better way of doing that than to building your own brand.
Facts. Big facts. So on the fight card, I think we touched on all of them. You can double check.
I'm pulling
you
it
or
up.
Danny Palm can double check. But at 247fighting.com, I wrote a blog post about the amateur fights, wrote a blog post about the pro fights, wrote a blog post specifically about Khama versus Rohler. So 247fighting.com, click the little news tab, and then you can get a breakdown of everything that we just talked about here. And also, we'll chop up this podcast into little segments about each fight for you guys. Saturday, Ryan. Saturday.
I think we talked about every fight that's like official.
Announced. There's one or two more coming, though.
Yeah. And there's one that's...
One definitely, and one probably. Yeah. So that's as of Tuesday. That's the fight week joys. We're still hammering things out because things can't ever be easy.
It's always fluid.
Yeah. Why?
Although I feel like the Brawl in the Burgh 12 show was like set in stone, and like
I think we lost one fight.
Yeah.
The week of. Yeah.
Who was that?
Danny Maldonado and Nolan Stahl.
Oh yeah, that was the first fight we signed too.
Yeah, and that fight was booked for so long.
Yeah,
something like April, I feel like.
So just as an FYI, the commission didn't allow that fight because of some medical stuff. So we can't get into any of that. But obviously, like, never like to have that stuff happen. Fight week. Here's the thing, we're recording this podcast. I've been looking at my phone. Mm-hmm. It's because we're having fighters fight week turning in paperwork.
Yeah.
And listen, they're getting paperwork done. That's great. But we like it when guys have their paperwork done a week, 2 weeks in advance, because then we know your fight is good to go.
Right.
We know your opponent is good to go. We know you're good to go. Like, why does everyone feel they have to wait till fight week to do any of the paperwork is beyond me. So if you do things early, that makes us love you.
It helps. It's definitely helpful, and it's just no stress. Like, during fight week, you got to weigh in on Friday. You're cutting weight. Why do you want to go get a physical right now?
Yeah,
like, that's the worst time. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do your paperwork early, kids. That's a PSA.
Paperwork early. Such a stud.
This card is a stud, bro.
Dude, this card's exciting, guys. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I'm gonna look right into the camera. Listen, I'm gonna give you a lecture. If you haven't got your tickets yet, one, jump on that. But two, like, this is not a card that you're like, oh, like that's one I'm gonna skip. You're gonna regret it. Khama Worthy, Josh Rohler. It might be the best lightweight pro fight in Pittsburgh. I don't know, in a long time, maybe ever. Like Rohler, like Cleveland, Pittsburgh. These are both guys that have they're at the top of the food chain. They're like as good as it gets. Josh Rohler is a known complete animal. He's a stud wrestler that's transitioned to MMA, and he is now at the top and he's ready to move on. Listen, he just beat a former UFC fighter. He beats 2 former UFC fighters in a row. He goes on to he's invited to the next level. Period. You got another guy in Khama who has been to the biggest stage. He's a huge attraction. He's a huge fighter. He's coming off a loss, and he's not happy about that. He wants to take that frustration out on Josh Rohler. He wants to show everyone, hey, I haven't lost the skill. I haven't lost anything. I'm ready to really explode and go back to a bigger stage. And he's ready to do that. These are two guys that are going to live up to everything we say. Like, it's going to be an awesome environment. It's going to be an awesome fight. You don't want to miss it.
You should be there at the Hollywood Casino at the Meadows in Washington, PA, Saturday. Doors open at 6. You should definitely be there. But if you can't be there for whatever reason,
you should be there.
You should. I agree.
If you live
Nothing
in
replaces
North
that.
America,
Yeah. Yeah.
like if you live
It's
in
worth
North
the trip.
America, you need to be there.
Facts.
Okay, but
If you don't, if you're in Russia and you want to watch the fights, you still can at stream247live.com.
is that 247 Live's website?
That is it. 247's live. 247's live website. Stream247live.com. That's it. 247 Live. Can you even imagine that exists?
It exists.
It's pretty good timing by Danny Palm there.
I know. Danny's he's all proud of himself. Look at him smiling ear to
Look
ear.
at that cheeser.
Good job,
Look at
Danny.
that cheesing boy. He's on it today, folks.
Oh, yeah.
Must be slamming that Celsius.
Is that like seltzery water, or is that like it tastes like a bag?
Yeah, it tastes like an energy drink.
Interesting.
It's a little less intense flavor, I would say, than Bang.
So
like
it's water.
No.
No.
It's kiwi guava, bro. What's it say? Let me see. Let me see here. No high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, 0 sugars, no preservatives. Oh, boy. Carbonated filtered water, citric acid, flavor.
All right, you lost my interest. Along with everyone else's, just so you know.
Except for Celsius's.
Yeah, well, but
Trying to
they
get
start
sponsored
paying
here,
us, bro. They need to start paying for that. That's not
Okay.
free.
Yeah, pay us, boy.
All right, so listen, and when it all comes down to it, this is a card you don't want to miss. Get your tickets. You can get them directly from the fighters. Quite a few of them have tickets on hand. If you don't get them from the fighters, you can go to 247fighting.com. You can go to the widget.
Yeah.
Pick a seat. Grab that seat. Check out and get your and we'll have those for you at will call.
Huge. Stream247live.com for the pay-per-view. If you're out of town, you can still support a fighter too. When you buy the pay-per-view, you can enter their name at checkout and they get a percentage of that sale. So you can still support them even without buying tickets.
That sounds awesome.
Boom. We're pretty awesome. You should come see us Saturday at the Hollywood Casino at the Meadows.
Stream247live.com, 247fighting.com for tickets. It's going to be awesome.
It is. It truly is.
Look forward
I'm
to
hyped.
seeing you. If you see us, either one of us there, say hi.
I love that.
Shake our hands. We want to know you. Let us know you listen to the podcast. Yeah, we love hearing that.
It's really cool. Yeah. I love it. Say hi. See you there. Peace.
See you there. Peace. See you there. Peace. See you there. Peace. See you there.
Nice.